Hey everybody, it's Allie J here. Was having some technical difficulties getting Stephanie Borowicz into YouTube. So we're gonna do it here, and I'm gonna see if I can get her in here. Let me see if we can get. Yeah. As soon as she sends, she should be requesting to join this live stream very soon. So if you'll just hold on for a moment till we get this figured out, we'll get this going here. I just have to wait for her to join. But yeah, so I'm excited to have Stephanie joining today, and there's a lot to talk about because, you know, the election is going on today and there's just other things happening. So I wanted to get her insight on some things. And so if you'll just bear with me for a moment here, we'll get her in here and then we'll get things started. So let's see. Oh, All right. There we go. Yes. Bring them on camera. All right. So, hey,
Hey,
I think it worked. All
yeah,
right.
I think we got it.
Yes.
Let's
Oh
go.
man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm sitting here
Um,
at Buffalo Township in Union County. Huge turnout. I was at Buffalo West Precinct, a huge turnout there. Clinton County's having a huge turnout, so this is a good day. Good day.
that's that's
Yeah.
great. We were just over at the polling place in Lewis Township. I think it's Lewis, right? Yeah. I believe that's our township. And it's usually slow there because it's such a
Right.
small precinct, but yeah. Have you been out to that one yet?
I haven't been there yet. I was going to head to
Uh,
Mifflinburg Borough and then head out that way and then back to Clinton. So
okay.
I'm tired. I'm
Okay.
getting tired.
Yeah, I bet. So yeah, everybody, if this is Stephanie Borowicz, and I'm glad that she was able to join me today. And sorry it wasn't on YouTube like I had been advertising, but I'm glad we were just able to do this. And so for those of you who are just tuning in, we were unable to get YouTube to work, so we're doing this here. Um, so tell me, my dad made a joke. He said, you can introduce her as Stephanie B, not related to Cardi B. I don't know if you saw that whole debacle at the Harris rally.
No, and I don't even know who that is. Listen, I'm 47, so I don't care to know. All I know
She's,
is all these celebrities are just scared to death about it being exposed of what they've done. And so they're all endorsing Harris. That's not what Americans want. We want America first policies. And, this is ridiculous. So yeah, I don't even know what happened at that rally. But
yeah, that was, there's a clip going around on social media, YouTube, Facebook, all that, where Cardi B was trying to do a speech and her teleprompter wasn't working, and all she kept saying was, how y'all doing tonight, how y'all doing tonight, and
oh, I did
she
see
had
that.
you did see that,
Yeah, I
okay.
did
So
see it
yeah,
come
that
on
was,
Fox, I think, and she didn't even know what to say because the prompter went out, so they don't even know how to talk without the prompter. Same with
yeah, and
Kamala Harris. So, and then JD Vance is out there nailing every interview, and then Trump's out
yep,
there on a Rogan podcast for 3 hours without a script. And so it's a clear
yeah,
choice out here in Union County. Everyone's voting Trump, and then they're voting all the way down. I have a whole vote all the way down the ballot, all the way down the
yeah,
ballot. So.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about your start in politics. I know I met you probably, what, 2 years ago, I think it's been now.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
your dad's
I
amazing too. We always talk about the Second Amendment and all of that good stuff. So, I started in 2016. So somebody actually came to me, the chairman of the Republican Party, and said, "Hey, would you think about running for state representative?" And I'm like, "Are you nuts? I'm a stay-at-home mom." I was running the youth group at my church at the time with my husband, 3 boys. Again, stay-at-home mom, and we prayed about it and felt like I was supposed to run. And so I ran that time. I came up short because I ran against a 28-year incumbent Democrat that was in leadership. But at every door, I think I knocked like 11 to 12,000 doors. And every door I talked about the importance of the Supreme Court and what that presidential election is going to be and how that's going to determine America with the Supreme Court justices. And that ended up being 3 appointees by Donald Trump. And I lost that race. And I was just, so upset because I just didn't understand why God would call me to do something and then lose. And I'm very competitive. I think you know that about me. So very competitive. That's why I'm out here today, even just making sure we get the vote out. All day you stand out at a poll. But anyway, I ended up running again in 2018, even though I didn't want to run again. I got to a point where I just didn't want to run for office again because it is a hard task. I mean, it is overwhelming to run for office. Attacks on you, attacks on your family. And, the whole political arena is just ugly, as Trump has said over and over again. And so, but I decided to run again. I prayed, felt like I was supposed to run again. And sure enough, I won in 2018. And so that's where it all started. I've been in for around 5 to 6 years and just trying to do my best to make sure the Commonwealth remains free and that we turn this state back and return the Commonwealth back to the seat of a nation. It says right there in the Capitol, it says around the Capitol in the rotunda, that this from Pennsylvania came the whole nation, would come a whole nation, that we were the holy experiment. And so it's so critical the way the Commonwealth goes. And you see that today. As Pennsylvania is going to go, the nation's going to go. And so that's why I'm standing out here. I told my son this morning, I got to give this my all to say that I did everything that I could to save America through Pennsylvania. I mean, everything's happened here, right? Gettysburg, Independence Hall. It's where Trump was almost shot, or he was shot, but then almost killed. And George Washington, I heard in the French and Indian War, they tried to shoot him and they called him I forgot, where they literally couldn't get George Washington. And so much has happened in Pennsylvania. And so it's so critical, so important here. So I'm honored to be a state representative in Pennsylvania in the 76th district, which it's a great number, 1776. So 76th district.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess I never really thought about that.
I know. Well, the numbers aren't really, there's so many districts. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of my friends call it the Fighting 76 district.
So what districts do you currently cover in, like, most of the people watching, at least from my viewership, are mostly from Union and Snyder County, so they may not fully know what townships you cover and all that. So
right.
I mean,
cover the bulk. Yeah, I cover the bulk of Union County. There is Jamie Flick that has Gregg and White Deer, and then David Rowe has East Buffalo and Union townships. I have everything else in Union. And then I have all of Clinton County, and everyone over here is like, where's that? So it's over near Woolwich. I live right by Woolwich. I'm in McElhattan. And so all of Clinton County, it's outside of Jersey Shore, that little area. So, but I come over this way over the mountain in Loganton, and it's about an hour drive, but Union County is amazing. So they've been acceptive of me, and then David Rowe's been with me a lot. So it's awesome. So that is the 76th district. It is all of Clinton and most of Union, I always say. So David Rowe's the one, he has Snyder, he has a portion of Union, he has Juniata and Mifflin counties. So.
Okay. Yeah, I've known David Rowe for a long time. We were in school together, homeschool, I guess you could say, and
that's awesome.
So I've known him for a number of years. I can't even remember how many years it's been, but
that's awesome. I know. I was just at West Buffalo Township, and one guy goes, "You know David Rowe?" No, I said, "Oh yeah, he's a good friend of mine." So we took a selfie and sent it. He sent it to David Rowe. So yeah, everybody out here, which he's born and raised here. But it was a best case scenario when they did redistricting and they put me over here. It was a best case scenario because we're both conservative. We both love this nation. Obviously, we're both fighting for the same thing. So we're working together. So
yeah. Yeah, I was disappointed at first when I heard David Rowe was moving out of this area, but then when I met you, I was like, well, it's a win-win. So I mean,
Right. That's how we tried to see it, is at least we're both true conservatives. We're both fighting for the same thing. So we'll do it together. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So why do you think it's important? I know some people focus so much on the federal government and they put so much focus on like representatives and senators and you don't hear much about state. Why is it important for the state to be why is it good to have good politicians within the state as well?
Gosh, it's critical. So I think COVID showed everybody that. And so COVID and the whole shutdowns really showed us that, wow, state government, state representatives, state senators, all of that matters because the governors were the ones that either kept their state open or shut it down. Like we had to fight everything with Governor Wolf at the time. And so everybody's eyes were open to, wow, this is a state government is voting on things that are crucial. Like we got a constitutional amendment to never again allow the governor to have that much power, that he could just continuously keep us on lockdown through an emergency declaration. Well, we changed that and we did a constitutional amendment that he only can do that for 30 days and he has to get our permission. And so that was a huge win for freedom. But that is why, I mean, everything that we vote on is hitting you guys even more local than federal. And so the things that we vote on affect you even more than the federal level. They're both equally important. It's just different roles, the federal government versus the state government. And we're the closest to the people. As a state representative, you know, I'm probably one of the offices closest to the people. I love that because I love the people. It's all about we, the people of, for, and by. And so people need to understand that and be involved in the state house, in the state senate, because these are the critical bills that are really going to change. I mean, you see the difference in the blue states that aren't doing good economically, and then the red states like Florida, Texas, that are flourishing, even though our economy's not doing well. Those states are flourishing because they have good state government, a good governor. I wish we could get a good governor, good governors, good state representatives, and good state senators. So it's the state government is critical to be a government of, for, and by the people. So
Well, I think what I don't think people understand that the when you have it's kind of like the president with the House of Representatives and the Senate, same kind of with the governor and the House and the Senate in the states, where you have if you have one side on one in one uh, body,
right.
then you it kind of changes things and what the other bodies are allowed to do.
Yeah.
So,
And
um,
that's the balance of powers and checks and balances. And so, but it does make it very hard. So we have a Republican state Senate. The Democrats controlled the state house by only one, and they tried to ramrod everything through, even with just a 1 seat majority of Democrats. And so we're trying to win the state house back. It's another reason I'm standing at these polls, trying to win the state house back into Republican hands so we can keep Governor Shapiro in check, who's a Democrat governor. And so these races are critical. I'm literally standing here saying, please go all the way down the ballot, Red, because every race is critical. Obviously, the top to change that, but all the way down is critical. So,
so, to not to hold you up too long, I know you're really busy today, but I just kind of wanted to get your insight on, I've been reading things, hearing different people talking about the Constitution and how they're saying it's outdated and how, like, I don't understand, the founding fathers had a vision for this country and now everybody wants to change it and they think that, oh, well, that doesn't apply today. Why is the Constitution important and why should it remain the way it is?
it is the longest lasting constitution ever written. So we're almost to 250 years, and I feel like that's why we are at a critical juncture. No constitution has lasted this long, and it's because it was we, the people, are the ones in authority, and that we're to be self-governed by God and not a government. It puts restraints on the government, not the people. And there's no other law of the land like it. And of course, there's news articles saying, oh, it's outdated. And I forgot the latest one, but it was literally to destroy our Constitution. That's what all this stuff does. the CRT, the critical race theory. It's all to demean and remove our Constitution, which is our law of the land and has lasted and been the best system of government ever implemented. And so it must remain. And you don't listen to the lies. Don't listen to the lies of our democracy. We have a republic. And my sister called me the other day. She goes, it's listed in the Constitution. Quit calling it a democracy. That's a mob rule. Our Constitution, we wanted a republic, constitutional republic, if we can keep it, Ben Franklin said. That's why I'm standing out here all day, even though I'm tired after 6 to 8 years in this, even losing. That's why I'm standing. So my kids, my grandkids can live in a free land. Ronald Reagan told us this is the last great stand on earth. There's nowhere else to go. Someone at my church on Sunday said, well, I'm moving to Australia. Oh, wait a minute. Australia's not doing great either. And there's nowhere else to go, Ronald Reagan said. And so this is it. We must hold the line for freedom. So that's why I'm
Yeah,
standing out here. At
that
least it's
is,
warm. At least it's warm today. Usually I'm freezing cold and I got gloves on and they're running hot chocolate out to me, but I'm it's like warm in November. This is amazing.
have you seen any of the rainbows that people have been seeing
I
today?
was just about to say, I literally saw a sliver of it, but I've seen photos of double rainbows.
It's amazing. I saw probably four rainbows just in the last few hours on my drive. Uh, I drive school van, so I was on my way to Lewisburg and I saw a rainbow. Well, we saw a rainbow on the way home from voting, and then we saw a rainbow. I saw a rainbow on my way to Lewisburg.
It's amazing.
And then I saw another one when I was taking one of the kids home. And then I saw another one out of my side mirror behind me, a real big one. Just, I was like, this is
It's
crazy.
amazing.
I'm like, so
It's
many
amazing.
rainbows.
And double. They're like somebody
Hmm.
just posted over there in Mifflinburg, it's a double rainbow.
Wow.
And so, I mean, it's God's promise. It's
Yeah.
God's promise.
Yeah.
And so we just pray that we're able to hold back a global government, the Marxist agenda that they've tried to push on this nation, and that God gives us grace and we're able to push it back today. And so that's our prayer. That's our stand. That's what Americans have always stood for. And I'm seeing people, I mean, I'm looking out, the line's getting even longer here. And so people are coming out. And so we've just got to walk by faith, not by sight, that we're going to pull this off tonight. And God's going to grace us with continuing of a free nation, that there's never been a nation like it. The pilgrims came here, they made a covenant with God, and it is still standing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. I was just thinking about that, how um, it seems like there's a lot of division within the church, and people are saying about like, well, we need to adopt these new things that are going on, these new social norms and all that. And it's like, I don't think, we used to worry about the government taking away our religious freedoms, and I've said this to a few people. I think we're kind of doing it to ourselves in a sense,
Yep.
because we are, you're not allowed to, the church is not allowed to talk about certain topics anymore, as far as, if you want to say, in the social norm. It's not politically correct, or
Yeah,
this
that's a
or
lie.
that.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Yeah.
I just talked at my church on Sunday and I went through all the
Okay.
lies that the church has believed in, thinking this farce and fiction law of separation of church and state, and then giving every excuse for us not to be involved in politics when the church is doing sermons on finances, on tithing, on parenting, on marriage, but they won't get involved in the political realm or in the government, just the government in the town square and who's making our laws, while evil isn't doing that. Evil is working incessantly with a secular worldview. And so it's time for Christians to get back to reading the Bible. I think it's 9% of Christians read the Bible every day. That's how you're going to know the truth of God's word. And B, the church has got to speak. I mean, literally, I just literally spoke on this. And so the church has to speak out on God's biblical truth. It's our duty. We don't have an option as Christians. It's our duty. So,
Yeah. Um, I had told you how my pastor had preached the one Sunday about the topic of being pro-choice and pro-God, and um, he made a good point, and other people have made a good point that it's no longer become a separation of church and state issue. It's a matter of the state is now inserting themselves into spiritual matters. And in a sense, the state is trying to change spiritual matters themselves rather than
Well, absolutely.
allowing.
Yeah, because the church, though, has sat aside and not said anything. Well, all of the secular worldview people are down there making the bills and the laws, and we think that we're not supposed to be involved in that as Christians. The Bible says to occupy until he comes. We're not to just sit aside and then wait till, Jesus returns. We're to occupy in the land that he's given us until he comes. And so we've just got to get that out of the church, have the church be bold as a lion and be strong on God's word. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's very true.
yeah.
Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I
Well,
really
thank you.
appreciate you coming on, and hopefully sometime when you're not so busy, we can have a sit down and do this again sometime
I'd
and
love to. I,
talk a
I'd
little
love
more in depth
to.
about some of this stuff. So,
I'd love
because
to. I'm gonna
yeah,
head back out to the poll, but thank you so much. And let's save this nation. If people haven't gotten out yet, you've still got time. Please vote Pennsylvania. If we win PA, we can save America. And so don't let anything
yeah,
stop you, and take people with you to the polls and have them vote too. And so thank you, Allison. I'll see you
yeah.
soon.
A friend of mine just told me last night. He said, "I think PA is going to decide the vote, but
I
I
know.
guess we'll see." So,
Makes me nervous. All we can do is do what we can, and God, duty is ours, results are God's. Thanks.
yep.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, thanks a lot for joining.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Yep. Talk to you soon. All right. Well, I want to thank Stephanie Borowicz for joining me today. That was so nice to have her on here, and I hope that you all learned something from this. And this special edition that's on Facebook Live instead of YouTube. I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to upload this to YouTube as well, so that way those who are not on Facebook are able to watch this. So stay tuned for that. I will try to get this uploaded to YouTube. Um, and next time, yeah, so I'm working on a few things as far as getting this live stream up and running a little more fluently, and looking to get some more guests on here as well. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for this special day of with Stephanie Borowicz, and that we can make sure you get out and vote. Yeah, so just make sure you get out and vote, and we are going to see what happens. It's all in God's hands, and I am trusting that God's going to do what is best for us. And I mean, God gives us a choice. God gives us choice. And so sometimes he allows man to make choices that he would not want man to make. And so that's why it's important that we are seeking God, praying fervently for this country, and just trust that we are in his hands. So thank you again so much for joining me. I'm Allie J for Live with Allie J on Facebook instead of YouTube this time. But next time I'll be back on YouTube. So be sure to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I want to thank Stephanie Borowicz again for joining me. Have a great night and get out and vote. See you next time.